Hey guys, what's up? The Red Knight here, back with another video, and today we're gonna be taking a look at my Transformers display. I know I said in my Marvel collection display video that I wouldn't be doing one, but if you've been following me on my community posts and even on Instagram, you'd know that I've acquired a few Rise of the Beast figures, and I think that merits for a display update video for my Transformers. Granted, most of the display, there's nothing much new to see. It's mostly just new setup, but I have managed to fill in the two blank spaces down below on the last row of my shelf. So yeah, today we're gonna be taking a look at that. And without further ado, let's go! So here we got my first shelf with the Bayverse Autobots, and as I said, not much change. I only did some repositioning of figures and reposing. And if you do recall from the last time, I did have the RC sisters here, but I moved them down to their own shelf with a few more other figures. More on that later. So yeah, and interestingly enough, this like my mind's eye of what the main Team Prime could have been. We got the first 5 Autobots we got from the first film, and we got Sideswipe and Dino, and Wheelie and Brains from the succeeding movies. And I think this would have been a really cool Team Prime. Yeah, and the Wreckers and Jolt would have been the supporting Autobots. Yeah. I think that would have been freaking cool, but that's definitely just a pipe dream. So moving on, here we have my Autobot animated shelf, and what I did with this one is that I transformed both Bumblebee and Grimlock into their alt modes. And what I was going for these two, is that, if you remember that episode where Bumblebee goes drag racing and then he meets this very fast car or racer. Yeah, that's the one I'm trying to recreate. Little did he know that this blue car was a fellow Autobot in disguise, which is Blur. So he didn't know that by then. Then a few episodes later, he found out and he was in shock. Yeah. So I did see the in-hand images of the latest animated Legacy figures, both Bumblebee and Prime, and I'm not really planning on getting them, though I do find the Prime so much cooler. The Bumblebee it's fine, but it's too small. I don't really think he was that small in the series, because in the series I think his height was definitely up to Prowl's shoulder. So it doesn't seem accurate, because from what I've seen, Bumblebee's height is until Prowl's waistline, I think. But if ever they do release some characters that I don't have, like mainly Bulkhead, I might get him, but we'll see, especially with, the space here. I don't think I can accommodate him, especially because he's such a big boy. And Ultra Magnus, there at the back, basically takes up most of it. And then to add Bulkhead, yeah. Oh, and if you can see that, yep. Awesome how his eyes are lighting up. Really such an awesome feature before for Transformers. Next up we have my Bayverse Decepticons, and the only major difference here is, well, besides the poses, is Megatron and Starscream. Like, I put Megatron in a kneeling pose. I was trying to do that similar thing that he did in the last night when he was kneeling down and talking to Lennox, something like that. And then, since I lack flight stands, I basically tried to put one foot on Starscream to make it appear like he's flying, but definitely gonna get more stands in the near future, because I definitely need more for my Marvel Legends collection. So yeah. Also, until now, I haven't gotten around to getting any new Decepticons. As I've said, despite how badass the designs for both Autobots and Decepticons are, I'm always leaning more towards the Autobots, especially because I'm a car guy and I'm more attracted, or pretty much prefer buying Autobots, because most of them are automobiles. And yeah. So moving down here, just below the Decepticon shelf, we got the Age of Extinction shelf, and I think this is basically all the characters besides Prime and Bumblebee that you would need for the Age of Extinction shelf. And yes, I did not have Lockdown placed here before. I already had him, but I just didn't know how to place him here. But now, yeah, finally fits. I do have him with his face gun. I do wish that the Studio Series came with one too. But yeah, just gonna stick with this one, but who knows, maybe I might get it. Yeah, we got Grimlock in his robot mode to accommodate for spacing, so now it looks even better than last time, because last time in his Dino mode he took up some space, and now that he's standing upright in his robot mode, there's more space to push back the figures and accommodate Lockdown for that. So yeah, you also got Strafe up there. I don't know if you can see him. I am sorry for the lack of lighting for this shelf, and also for the other shelves down below, and also for the Decepticon shelf. I am gonna get around to getting some individual lights for all of these, so that's equally lit and I can appreciate it much better. So yeah, I know Slog wasn't in the movie, but his Dinobot mode appealed to me. His design rather appealed to me, and I just had to get him before. I mean, I was a child before, so I just wanted to get, any kind of Transformer that felt cool to me. And yeah, at least I have the main cast here. I do wish that Studio Series would get around to rounding up all the Dinobots, and maybe upscale them a bit more. I did hear that they were gonna do that for Grimlock. It was, I read it somewhere on someone's story in IG and a couple of posts, but let's see how that goes. So here we have the Transformers Prime section, and what I did with this is that I moved the Decepticons back and moved the Autobots to the front, and I think that looks very nice considering that look how they tower the Autobots. I mean, but Starscream is not supposed to tower anyone considering he is almost as big as Knockout and Soundwave. And also I wanted to elevate Megatron so that he's above everybody else considering how strong he is. And what better way to complement that elevation with Soundwave rather, considering he's the most loyal Decepticon to Megatron. Also, I know Hasbro has been making Transformers Prime figures, but it's like Transformers Prime inspired considering they're not exactly screen accurate, and I would love Hasbro to make screen accurate representations of the Transformers Prime characters, because that would do so well for those of us who have a collection like this, who has the OG Transformers Prime figures, and that would be just lovely if they could do that, especially with accurate sizes, scaling through the Studio Series line, because Transformers Prime does have a movie and it is Predacons Rising. So yeah, I could definitely see Hasbro making Transformers Prime subline through the Studio Series line. So before we move on to the next shelf, I almost forgot. I think these were not in my last setup from the last video I made, but here we have Beast Hunters, Bumblebee, and Optimus Prime from the Tomika line of Takara Tomy, if I'm not mistaken. It's by Takara, I think. And here we have Wheeljack impaling this poor old V-Con, because why not? He is a wrecker after all. So speaking of the wreckers, here we have my Bayverse Wreckers display, and it's definitely by far the most chaotic display I ever have on the shelf, because look at them wreaking havoc on each Decepticon, especially him. I definitely pulled off his arm and legs to make it very brutal, because the wreckers in the Bayverse are definitely depicted to be just that brutal. That is SS Helicopter Dropkick 2. So he definitely makes for a good Decepticon drone or minion. And here we have Evac. It's definitely one you can only find at Universal Studios, but I think they don't sell him anymore, because when I went to Universal Studios Orlando, he was just not there. They only had the Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, and he was not there. I did get him though when I was in Singapore back in 2012, and I was definitely happy to get him. And there was a whole stock for him, and I don't know why he's just not there. It doesn't seem like he's out of stock, because how can you run out of exclusives for a character that's specifically for a ride, right? So it's definitely something that just makes me curious, It's a curious thing. So we are now at the last set of shelves, and starting off we have the Revenge of the Fallen section, and basically I just had to take some figures out of storage. We got Ravage, Rampage, and the twins. I also have the OG Devastator, but he's too big and I don't think he'd be able to fit there, obviously. So unless I have a bigger space, then I won't be able to include him there. Even if I had the Studio Series Constructicons, they wouldn't fit into a shelf like this. Anyway, The only new one here is Jolt, and he's definitely one of the underrated figures of the Studio Series line. Even overhated. Um, you just gotta give him a chance. He's really a fun figure. You can get him into some awesome poses, and yeah, you just gotta give this figure a chance. His design is also underrated. And for an Autobot who only appeared for a few seconds of screen time, it's definitely one of my favorite designs. So yeah. Oh, and I also did the hot water method to reshape those whips and give it more life. So, and I also hope that Hasbro makes an updated Twins Studio Series figures. The size from the ice cream truck versions are already good enough. They just have to turn it into their Chevy Trax, and I did forget the other one, but there's Chevy Altamont. I don't know why it's taking this long. Some have theories, but I just hope that Hasbro does make them in the future to complete the Revenge of the Fallen lineup for Studio Series. So next we have my animated Decepticons, and for this I left Lockdown as is. For Blitzwing, if you remember, he was at the back. I moved him to the front, and I have him in a blasting pose where he's blasting from his Tarex, I believe that they're called, those things from the tank. And I also switched his face to the tough personality face, the red one. For a Lugnut, we have him in this pose where he's like proclaiming the glory of Megatron, because in the series he's not, in most of his appearances on screen, you always see and hear him praising Megatron, Megatron this, Megatron that, So yeah, I also am curious to see how they'll do Lugnut for the Legacy line, because so far I am impressed with their Optimus Prime, so I am looking forward to how they'll do Lugnut, considering that his original toy, this one, is a lot smaller than he should be. So I'd like to see them upscale him a bit more to match his on-screen scale. And finally, at the back, if you can see right here, I basically have Megatron posed in this sort of choke holding Starscream, because that's basically their dynamic for most of the series, especially in that episode where Starscream is undead, because he really has no spark, and what's keeping him going is the Allspark fragment. So every time Starscream comes back, Megatron tries to terminate him again and again. So yeah. So here we have the final shelf, which contains most of the latest releases. We have the Rise of the Beast Autobots, and this was gonna be a Rise of the Beast shelf in general, but considering with the characters I have, it's just gonna be an Autobot shelf. But as time progresses and I get figures, more characters, bit by bit, it's gonna be Rise of the Beast, or not really a Rise of the Beast shelf, but a shelf for this new universe of Transformers live action movies. I'm definitely eyeing that new Megatron, so it's definitely gonna fit in here with that Optimus Prime. They're both essentially good figures, and basing from reviews, I think that Megatron might be the best live action movie Megatron we've ever gotten. So I'm really stoked to be getting that. I don't have that. I didn't get it on pre-order though, but I will get it eventually. So enough of that. Let's focus on the figures. And for the most part, Mirage and RC are really decent figures, but they could be better, obviously. For RC, she's definitely one of the victims of concept art, but for the most part, she is screen accurate. What would be what would make her more screen accurate if the wheels on her feet, or behind her legs, would be placed on her back, for screen accuracy. But that's not the case, and I've seen a lot of people saying that she could have been a small deluxe, and I don't disagree with that. But then again, she still works as a core class. Yeah, but if she can be improved, I definitely see her again, being released again as a new figure. But if they're gonna make her a small deluxe, they have to justify the price, right? Okay, for Mirage, he is decent but not the best. I was expecting him to be as good as Prime, but the kibble, takes away some points from that, from me. And because of the licensing restrictions, they definitely had to make some compromises and do the best they can with this character. And considering how clean and streamlined he is in the movie, it's definitely their best work for now. But if they release him with a vehicle mode of a Lamborghini, or that Formula One race car like we saw in the movie, we can definitely get a much cleaner robot mode, considering that those vehicles were only there for a short amount period of time, and they can focus mostly on the robot mode. But I still love this Mirage figure because as I've messed with it a number of times, I've grown to like him more, and I've been able to put him in very dynamic poses despite the kibble. Yeah, I still love him. And for Optimus Prime, he's definitely the best figure from this one. But if I do have also the Maximals, I think Rhinox and Primal would definitely fit into that category. I think they would be the best figures from the line, including Bumblebee and maybe even Scourge. But yeah, from the figures I have, Optimus Prime is definitely the best figure. But he's not without his flaws, like the shoulders. But the DNA Designs kit, which I pre-ordered, definitely fixes that, and I am surprised that they also included toe joints for the new feet to make, because I think they were planning to make the back of the cab in truck mode much cleaner than what Hasbro did, and I think it's definitely such a bonus to add some toe joints, because if you can see for the pose I have Prime in his feet, I definitely have one foot on his toe. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, sorry for the lighting, but yeah, I do have one feet that's relying on his toe, so that would definitely be of great help for Optimus Prime, and I'm glad that they included that as a bonus feature. Not one that we wanted, but one that we needed unexpectedly. So yeah, Optimus Prime With or without the DNA Designs kit, upgrade kit, he's definitely gonna be on my top 10 figures of this year. So there we have it. That was my Transformers display video for this year. Despite getting a few figures this year, I can definitely say that it was a good year for the Studio Series line. I don't want to touch on the legacy stuff because they're able to pump out new stuff every time, but Studio Series take time, and I definitely like to say that it was definitely a good year for Studio Series, especially because Hasbro was able to pump out good Rise of the Beast Studio Series figures, and they did an excellent job despite some flaws in certain figures. Sure, things could have been done better, but overall it was good. I definitely think the main stars were Optimus Prime, Primal, well, basically all the Maximals. Eraser could have been better. She's definitely a victim of the concept art. Yeah, but overall, yeah, kudos to Hasbro. Oh yeah, I don't know if you've noticed this, but if you look at my shelves, how they're organized. I don't know if you've noticed, but I even noticed it myself after setting it up, that the shelves on both the left and the right are basically live action movie characters, and the ones in the middle are cartoon related characters from Transformers Prime and animated. So definitely got a bit of organized shelves despite the displays being a bit chaotic. So yeah, definitely something that I didn't really plan out that well. I just kind of went with the flow, but I definitely did take time to this rearrange stuff and try to give you guys a good look at my shelves, because this hobby is definitely therapeutic in a way. It is also a stress reliever despite frustrations with space, with the prices of certain figures that you want to acquire. That won't let me stop loving this hobby. It's definitely become a part of me. I've been collecting Transformers since I was a kid. I think my first Transformer was definitely Bumblebee. So he definitely started the whole road in getting Transformers. I did want to quit once, but once after the last night I wanted to quit, but once the Studio Series line was announced, I jumped back in because they were giving us screen accurate figures. I love the detail. I just love how accurate they are now. I definitely didn't notice that before until I saw the Studio Series line announced. So definitely happy to be back, and also posing. I love posing these figures, and it's definitely a relief. Like when you've had a bad day and then you pick up a toy and pose it, it's definitely a good feeling. It's definitely my kind of stress ball. So yeah. So let me know what are y'all's favorite figure this year. Did you like the Studio Series figures that were released this year? I think definitely it's mostly Rise of the Beast. I don't think there were any other characters from the Bayverse this year, I think. But if I'm mistaken, correct me down below. Also, You know, it's the Christmas season, so I do hope y'all are in the holiday spirit, and I hope y'all will get the figures that you really want, ones that you didn't get, you know, in the recent months and that you've been waiting all Christmas to get. So I do hope you get that. And you know, just a little sneak peek for the next video. We have my Transformers Marvel Legends display, so stay tuned for that. I'm just waiting for a couple more figures. I don't think the Spider-Man figures will be included there. So yeah, just a heads up. It is definitely, you know, a 2023 release, but I won't be including that in my video if ever they arrive, you know, past January and I haven't, you know, done the video yet. So yeah, they won't be a part of that. They will be a part of, you know, another video update for 2024. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below which shelf was your favorite, and you know, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I hope you all have a good one, and you know, stay safe, have fun, and be jolly in the festive spirit of Christmas. Bye guys. See you in the next one.